Hello from Swiss Tramline 10. I am on my way to the airport and I'm going to take you through my entire Swiss first class journey from Zurich to Los Angeles. This video is a new effort in combining my first person experience through my Ray-Ban Meta glasses along with some detailed highlights I captured on my iPhone 15 Pro Max. Let me know in the comments section if you like this format and don't forget to hit subscribe while you're there. Okay, back to business. Once I reached the Zurich airport, I made my way to check-in area 1. That's where the private first-class check-in is tucked away. This is the entrance to the Swiss first-class check-in. The vibe here is calm and upscale and makes you forget that you're inside an airport terminal. I was greeted right away, checked in with no wait, and my bags were taken care of, and I didn't even have to lift a finger. After that, a staff member walked me to a private staircase that led to the Swiss first class security. There were no crowds and no lines. In fact, in just a few minutes, I was right through security and I stepped straight into the first class lounge. The Swiss first class lounge at the A gates is a much smaller lounge than the ones at the E gates. If you're flying within the Schengen zone, this is the lounge you'll primarily use since Schengen flights depart from gates A and B. Despite its size, it has everything you'd expect from a true first-class lounge. A la carte dining, a full bar, comfortable seating, workspaces, and personalized service. It's certainly a refined space that sets the tone for the journey ahead. So here's something I do in every first-class lounge that I visit, the Eggs Benedict test. It's simple. I order Eggs Benedict and I see how well they nail it. Are the eggs perfectly poached? Yolks runny? Sauce just right? It's actually a small dish, but it says a lot about the attention to detail in the kitchen. Let me know if this is a pass or a fail in the comments below. Let's take another look at the bar. It may not be as extensive as the Whiskey Club in the Senator Lounge, but it still offers a solid collection, enough to keep any first-class traveler satisfied. And just around the corner, there's also a smoking lounge, stocked with premium Cuban cigars, and a curated selection of whiskeys to match. Since all Swiss flights with first-class cabin depart from the E gates, it was time for me to move to the E gates. I made my way to the shuttle pickup area, and after a short wait, my private chauffeur arrived to take me across the terminal. The midfield terminal, which has the E gates, opened in 2003 and it actually sits between the airport's runways. To get there, most passengers take an underground automated train, but in Swiss first class, you get your own private shuttle across the tarmac. It's actually a quite unique way to see the airport up close, with jets taxiing and taking off around you. As you walk into the Swiss first class lounge at the E gates, one of the first things you notice is the row of 5 Breitling clocks on the right. The Breitling clocks are both a symbol of Swiss craftsmanship and a subtle connection to aviation history, reinforcing that Swiss precision vibe. The decor in this lounge is warm and understated, with rich wood accents and clean minimalist lines. The seating is quite well spaced, offering private corners, cozy armchairs, and wide windows overlooking the runway. There's even an outdoor terrace where you can watch planes take off while sipping a drink, though it was closed during my visit because of rain. It was still early in the morning, but I decided to indulge in a glass of champagne. The bartender gracefully opened a bottle of Bouger Jouet and poured me a glass. Just past the entrance, The Swiss First Class has a striking centerpiece, a floor-to-ceiling wine humidor holding over 1,000 bottles. Inside, you'll find a carefully curated selection of wines from Switzerland and all around the world. There are 2 private bedrooms here, available on a first-come, first-served basis. You just have to request one at the entrance, and if it's available, it's yours. Now, each of these rooms features a Hasten's bed, a handcrafted Swedish bed that costs upwards of $40,000, and it's known for its incredible comfort and craftsmanship. And the best part, you can lie back, sink into the mattress, and still watch planes taxi and take off. How much better can this get? Swiss First Class is often ranked as one of the most exclusive first-class experiences in the world. While the Lufthansa Group includes airlines like Lufthansa, Swiss, Austrian, Brussels Airlines, and Eurowings, only a Lufthansa and Swiss offer a true first-class cabin. And here's the thing, Lufthansa First is great, but Swiss First is something else, especially because it's so exclusive and tough to get into. Unless you're a top-tier elite in the Miles & More program, you cannot redeem miles for Swiss First Class. No partner bookings, no sweet spots. So for most people, that means paying cash, serious cash. After some plane watching from the comfort of the day room, I freshened up and made my way to the dining area. Because clearly, one meal before a long flight isn't enough. The dining room feels more like a small restaurant than a lounge, with proper table service, crisp linens, and neatly set tables. One of the most popular dishes on the lounge menu is the classic Swiss cheese fondue. It's served the traditional way with crusty bread, boiled potatoes, and a few pickled vegetables on the side. Fondue isn't just food here, it's actually a part of Swiss culture, often shared with friends and family during colder months. So if you're here in this lounge, it's absolutely a must-try. For my meal, I started with beef tartare that was perfectly seasoned and was rich in flavor. Next came tiger prawns in a mild curry sauce with jasmine rice. And honestly, the rice was probably just as important for soaking up some of that champagne I've been having all day. Before I knew it, it was time for me to board. I had to take a moment to admire the Swiss 777-300ER. I walked past the mini business class cabin and then stepped into the first class cabin. There are only 8 seats in this cabin, and I chose row 2 on purpose to get a better view and capture some shots of the whole cabin. At my seat, an amenity kit and slippers were already waiting, but the crew came around with a tray offering mouthwash, socks, eyeglass cleaner, and asked for my pajama size, letting me choose between short or long sleeves. I personally like short sleeves, so it was nice to have a choice. The purser then came and introduced herself and gave me the Wi-Fi access card. Then a gentleman came up to my seat. He looked like a pilot, and he was the captain of our flight. He introduced himself, welcomed me on board, and gave me a quick rundown of the flight time, the weather, and the route we were gonna take. I told him I was an aviation enthusiast, and I showed him my home toy collection and airport setup. He was immediately impressed and invited me to the cockpit and say hello to the other pilots. Of course, I said yes. How could I turn down a chance to see the 777 cockpit? The rest of the crew, they even posed for a selfie with me before the flight. So Swiss, kudos. You're already winning in my book. In a few minutes, another flight attendant came by and asked what I wanted to drink. I chose champagne. Swiss serves Pommery Cuvée Louise 2006, not a cheap one, but something that sells for around $200 a bottle. As we pushed back on time, I caught a view of an Edelweiss A340 preparing for its flight to Calgary. The livery with its bright red nose and flower logo really stands out. One of the more unique and colorful designs you'll see in the skies. As we lined up for takeoff, I watched the stream of planes lifting off ahead of us. Seeing the power, the motion of these huge things lifting off, it's honestly one of the best parts of any flight for me. No matter how much of physics you explain to me, I'm still amazed every time these massive machines leave the ground so effortlessly. It never gets old. Now it's our turn. Sit back and enjoy the roar of the mighty GE90 engines, the largest and the most powerful jet engines flying today. Once we were above 10,000 feet, first order of business, connect to internet, especially because I don't have to talk myself into paying for it. Swiss charges 35 Swiss francs if you want Wi-Fi for the whole flight, but since I was in first class, it was complimentary. I pulled out the phone I tried to connect, but no luck. I'll spare you the full story, but Wi-Fi didn't connect at all for the first 2 hours. When it finally did connect, the connection was spotty, which also worked only for a couple of hours. So if you're thinking of buying Wi-Fi, my advice is save your money. Then I was handed two menus. I had pre-ordered the rabbit ragu with Mediterranean juice and tomato risotto, but I still wanted to look through the options. I've heard the pike perch with yuzu sauce is a crowd favorite. So if my pre-order didn't taste good, I was planning on getting the pike perch instead. The red wine selection is decent. These are more than average lounge options. For context, a wine like Chateau Quintus typically retails for about $70 in the US, while Don Maximiano or Tokaji dessert wines can run into the $40 to $60 range. Definitely middle to upper tier bottles. The white wine list focuses on a mix of Swiss and European picks. My flight attendant began setting up for dinner, laying out the tablecloth. So if you've been watching my videos for a while, you already know I have pretty high standards when it comes to tablecloths. I let you be the judge on this one, but for me, Thai Airways still holds the crown for the best first-class tablecloth. Air France La Première introduced 3 new signature cocktails created by the head mixologist at the Ritz Paris. Lufthansa has introduced a new signature aperitif called Avionic for its first-class passengers. So it doesn't come as a surprise to see a new signature Swiss cocktail called the Swiss Alpine Essence. I asked for it, but the flight attendant politely replied that it wasn't available on my flight. So I ended up with a makeshift drink, which was vodka mixed with a mocktail called Revel Spritz. And to be honest, it wasn't great. I decided to stick with champagne. Once again, the flight attendant poured it in the galley and brought it over, rather than pouring it at my seat. I politely asked if I could see the bottle. In my view, if you're serving high-end champagne in first class, presentation matters. It should be shown and poured at the seat. After all, you're treating your passengers with expensive stuff and you gotta show it off, right? For comparison, here's a video of how champagne is introduced and served in Air France La Première. That little touch really adds to the sense of luxury. Anyway, after that, the amuse-bouche was served, and it was fantastic. I reached out into the small storage compartment to the left to grab the headset. That same compartment also housed the remote for the in-flight entertainment, seat controls, and power outlets. The headsets were decent OEM brand, but I don't think they had active noise cancellation feature. The table setting continued with bread basket offering 3 types of bread, Swiss's signature salt and pepper shakers, plus olive oil and butter. Instead of the usual caviar, which many airlines serve in first class, Swiss serves Baltic salmon, and I've got to say it was a pretty big portion and was absolutely delicious. I followed that with carrot and ginger soup and prawn crackers. My pre-ordered dish, the rabbit ragu with Mediterranean juice and tomato risotto, was phenomenal. It was the first time trying rabbit, and I was surprised by how tender and lean the meat was. The flavor was mild, almost like a cross between chicken and veal. So it soaked up all the Mediterranean spices and worked beautifully with the creamy risotto. I was genuinely blown away. I paired it with a glass of Don Maximiano, a Chilean wine, and the whole meal was outstanding. I decided to indulge in another glass, this time a Saint Emilion Chateau Quintus, to round out my main course. One thing Swiss consistently gets right is the cheese plate. It's not about placing a few random pieces of cheese on a board. A proper cheese course should offer a selection of high-quality cheeses that vary in texture, flavor, and origin, providing a balanced sampling. Ideally, a proper cheese plate should include a mix of soft, semi-hard, and hard cheeses, crackers or slices of artisan bread for some crunch, fresh fruits like grapes or apple slices, dried fruits like dates or apricots to add sweetness, and fig jam or berry compote to balance the dryness. Swiss delivered exactly that. The presentation was spot on, and everything laid out beautifully and thoughtfully. For dessert, I went with a coffee mousse topped with salted caramel sauce and cocoa crumble. It was definitely enjoyable. That wrapped up dinner service, and I headed straight to the bathroom to change into my PJs. Swiss has 2 bathrooms for first class passengers, one a bit larger than the other. They were stocked with just the basics, but both were very clean and spotless. I went back to my seat and checked out the amenity kit. A maroon bag with the Swiss markings on it had skincare items from the French luxury brand Sisley. There was facial cream, hand cream, and lip balm. It also had a toothbrush, toothpaste, and earplugs. There was also a small coat closet in the suite where I could hang my clothes, which was a nice touch. Then the flight attendant made up the bed so I could get a few hours of sleep. What usually makes a seat that turns into a bed uncomfortable are 2 things. One is the indents on the seat. The other is a narrow footwell that restricts your feet. In first class, these are usually solved with a wide footrest and a thick plush mattress pad. Swiss did an excellent job here. The bed was very comfortable, and they also provided 2 pillows, which was perfect for me. While I was lying in bed and sipping some peppermint tea, I checked out the in-flight entertainment. You can control everything through the little handset next to you. It makes it easy so you don't have to reach out to the TV every time. It was simple to use and very responsive. I thought I would get a solid nap before landing, but for some reason, even with great food, alcohol, and comfortable bed, my mind would just not calm down. Maybe I was too excited to sleep, so I watched another TV show to pass the time. About an hour and a half before landing, the crew came around with an anytime dining menu. I would have expected this to be given out at the start of the flight so you could order whatever you wanted whenever you wanted. Table was set again and I ordered the famous move and pick ice cream, which came out hard as a rock. I've had ice cubes softer than that. I also went for the fried chicken, which was absolutely delicious. As we began our approach into Los Angeles, I found myself replaying the entire journey in my head. First class is always about the full picture, from the moment your trip begins through the ground experience and then the flight itself. Some airlines shine on ground while others deliver unforgettable service in the air. And of course, the crew you get on that particular day can make or break the whole thing. Even in first class, we have to be realistic. Service isn't always flawless. So I'm not going to generalize the Swiss first class experience for everyone. I'm just going to talk about this one. The hot product was excellent. The soft product was very good, though not I would call exceptional. The crew were professional and on point, but they didn't leave that extra spark that makes an experience truly unforgettable. Sometimes an outstanding soft product can elevate a mediocre hot product into something memorable. In this case, the hot product carried the day. But overall, I'd still put Swiss first class comfortably in my top 5 first class experiences. Thanks for watching and please hit the subscribe and the notification button if you like this video.
Dear guests, welcome to Los Angeles. Would you please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until we have reached our final parking position and the respective cabin sign has switched off.